welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news analysis. What is up? How's everyone feeling out of 10? Make sure you guys are spamming that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam that like button. What is up, y'all? Bitcoin currently sitting at $71,082. We've had a breakout back test as of right now. We can see the MACD is flipped a little bit red over here. But we can see that the moving averages on the 5-hour chart are fully bullish at this point, which is a good sign. Let me get my chat up here. Boom. And this is pretty much what we anticipated here. Same sort of thing happened right here. You can see you had a breakout. So we've compared this right here a lot to the 200 to the 100, where let me just pull a fractal and then spread it out so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. But the interaction with the 100 moving average has been very, very similar here to the interaction with the 200. Okay, so you guys can see that I just pulled this fractal from us interacting with the 200. And actually, let me make this a little bit longer so we can really see like how this interacted here. Let's do this. Boom. So there we go. We can see that pretty clearly. Doing this, honestly, pretty damn close. But there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. So this is the fractal that we pulled from the 100 moving average. We talked about it being sloping down really far, and it takes a few tests, a few interactions with it before you can actually clear it, which is, in my opinion, still what we're doing. We've been talking about this for weeks, but quickly to recap, when the 100, the light blue moving average is sloping really far down, it takes a few interactions before you have to kind of flatten it out before you can actually clear it. And we see that this happened. We came up to the 200 or the 100, big rejection, higher low, came up to it again, rejection, higher low, broke above it, back tested it as support, and then broke to the next level before back testing it as support again. And what we can see is the same exact thing has happened. We came up to the 200. It was sloping too far down. Big rejection, higher low. Came back to it. We can see back tested it as support. Broke above it. Back tested it. And then we had our big move here, which is, in my opinion, still the same. And I think we're going to get a full back test of it. But we can see at this point, it's actually fully moving to the upside, and this is fully bullish. 200 on bottom, 100 followed by the 50, followed by the 20. This is full bullish posture. The first time that we've been in this posture since for months and months, we have not been in this bullish posture. And of course, like the big thing was the Fed happened today. No rate cuts took place. I didn't even watch it. They have it as a 95% chance right now that they're going to keep things the same. I think they have it probably, honestly, I'm pretty sure the market has it priced in for the entire year that it's going to be the same. Yeah, so 35 through July, July is still the highest that we're going to stay the same. September, the market has priced in that we're going to stay the same. October, the market has that we're going to stay the same. December, all the way through December of 2027, still, that's when the market is predicting that we're going to start cutting. Yeah, December of 2027 right now is when the market predicts that we are going to start cutting rates. And I find the timing of that very interesting because then we're rolling into 2028. And a lot of people think that rate cuts is good for the markets in some regards, maybe. But not really. Like historically, when they're cutting rates aggressively, there's a reason that they need to do that. And so the fact that they're not cutting rates, the market has it priced in that we're not going to be cutting rates all the way until 2028, basically. that's a big deal. That's a very big deal in my opinion. So this is my thoughts on Bitcoin. This is what I think that we're doing. I think we're going to print a higher low. I think we're going to test the 200 over here, which is a very normal and healthy thing to do. In fact, Bitcoin did the exact same thing with the 100, the light blue moving average, multiple times. Rejection, rejection, break above it, back test, break above cleanly, back tested it again. And so in my opinion, we have broken above cleanly of the dark blue 200 moving average on the 5 hour. And I think that we're going to cleanly back test it into probably into the next full moon, to be honest. When is that? I don't... When is the... so today I think is the new moon. Yeah. So that would be 2 weeks from now. Let's see if we can predict this out here. Is it? So there you go. We probably back test it pretty cleanly around. There you go. The first of April. All right. So that's basically what I think that we're gonna do. All right. Typically you have a immediate sell off after the new moon, but we can see. That is exactly where I think that we're at. I do still think that the bottom is in. Even if we had a little bit of selling today, I still think that the bottom is in. We're still up, by the way. We're still up from the last local low. And we're still up from the low over here when we were at 59K. Right now, even with the pullback, we're up 18%. 18%. Do you guys understand? 18%. Do you understand? 18% is like 2 years of stock market gains. From the wick low to the wick low, we're up 18% right now. So I'm seeing just nonstop still. Everyone talking about bear flag, bear flag, bear flag. And I'm telling you, I don't think it's happening. I don't think that we're going to put in a new low, especially for Ethereum, especially for XRP. I'm open-minded to Bitcoin sweeping the lows, but I don't think it's going to happen, especially this posture, especially this being the second iteration of really testing it as well. The volume right here, too, is a huge, huge factor when we see the volume. I haven't looked, actually, at the total 3 in a while. Wow. But I drew this little squibbly weeks ago, and we've fallen the squibbly pretty good here. We haven't pulled up that in a minute. Squibblies. All right, but we have flipped bullish again on the 5 hour chart. This is really good out of the total 3 as well. Still putting in higher lows, higher highs. I like that we have cleared this whole entire range. That's a big deal. You could definitely make the argument here that this is, accumulation. My issue with the bear flag too, of like how literal accuracy I think that it has. STB will retest the low. Maybe. My issue with people calling for a bear flag is it's literally Wyckoff too. So it's like what people call as a bear flag is also Wyckoff accumulation, which literally marks the bottom. It's the same thing. Like you could definitely say that this is a bear flag. When you look at literally textbook, you have your pole over here. This is why bear flags and bull flags are nonsense. Like, let me know when BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, the U.S. government starts trading bear flags and bull flags. When they start doing that, I'll start paying attention. But until then, I'm going to pay attention to how they actually move. That's my thoughts on it. How do you pull a fractal? Okay, I'm happy to answer like just basic questions as well, because like I really like to teach, and I like to bring you guys value, tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So I'm happy to like answer questions, basic questions as well. Not that that's a basic question, but I'm just saying in general, like on a technical perspective, I want you guys to come up with your own thesis and to come up with your own analysis, all of that stuff. So how you pull a fractal, I have a shortcut down here. I have a whole little shortcut that I always will use. These are some of the main indicators that I use constantly, but the indicator is called bar pattern. And on TradingView, if you look on the left, it's generally the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th section down. And then a lot of times you have to click this little thing over here, this little tab, and it will be this one right here. Bar pattern is the one. You can also search it up here, but you just basically click on it. You click on the indicator, and if you were saying like, hey, we're interacting with the 100, how it's sloping down really, really far, you click where you wanted to pull it from, and then you just drag to the data point which you want to have it go to. So let's say we think that that's going to how it's going to play. And then it will automatically draw it for you. And then you can do something like this. You know, you could do whatever. You could put it however you want it to put it. And if you think, well, you can stretch it. You can stretch it. You can click on this little dot here. You can stretch it right. You can stretch it left. You can stretch it up. You can stretch it down. You can flip it. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to it. It's a tool. I don't think it's gospel. I like the reason that I've been showing it. I don't really necessarily make predictions based off of fractals too much. It's a tool. You can also change the color. You can do all kind of stuff like that, right? The reason that I like to show, the reason that I'm showing a fractal for Bitcoin specifically is because, and where did it go? Where did my chart go? Where's my snare? Here we go. The reason I like pulling it off of Bitcoin specifically right now is because of how it interacts with this posture right here, specifically on the moving averages. You know, especially when you day trade and you live trade every single day, you see postures a lot of times, and you see how it kind of really interacts with a certain posture. And when you see the slope, you know, if you see, you know, a lot of times you can see the opposite of this. So let me give you an example. So this is like straight down slope, basically, but also you have the straight up slope. And a lot of times how it interacts with the posture is if it's sloping down like this, generally it takes third time is the charm, 2 to 4 is kind of the general how many times it needs to interact with it before it can like clear it. And we see this a lot. We saw this actually right here. So the first time, like it's very sloping down. A lot of times it needs to be flat like so before you can clear it. And we saw it literally did that. We talked about it the first time it interacted with it. We talked about it with Bitcoin the first time it interacted with the 200. I said it's sloping down too far. We need to flatten it out like it is now. It's now flat, which is the posture that you want it to have, that you can leave it. Now, it's not a guarantee that it leaves it. Sometimes it doesn't. But generally, that's the posture you want to see so that it does leave it. And the reason that I keep pulling from right here is it shows the interaction of how the posture changes before it does leave it. And that's exactly what happened. So you can see the angle is very steep right here. And I'll just draw like a... We'll just draw like a little... right? So the angle is really steep right here. You can see that, right? But over here, the angle is kind of flat. Well, when it's steep like this, the first time it interacts with it, it generally always gets rejected because it's too steep. So, and that's exactly what happened. We came up, we got rejected, came down, higher low. Higher low was a really good sign. Came up again, rejection again, higher low again, broke above it. But now when we break above it, it's not steep down, sloping down. It's flat at this point. So now we back test it as support and then you leave it. Okay. So that's why I keep pulling the fractal. It's not really a prediction. It's really what I'm showing with the fractal is not, I don't really make predictions based off of fractals other than to show you the posture of the moving averages. That's why I'm using it in that regard. And that we did the same thing. We came up, same thing. Like the slope is too far down to leave it. Now, sometimes you still can, like it's not a hard 10 commandments rule written in stone, but just generally how they interact with the moving averages, that's kind of what you see. it kind of needs to be flattened out before you can kind of flip it as bullish or as bearish. And the same thing is true like when you're over here. You know, we leave it in a bullish posture. It's in a straight line up. The first time you interact with it, it's not enough to really break it, and it keeps going. And then we start to get really flattened out before we actually leave it, right? So that's what I'm showing over here is like, hey, this is the first time that we've kind of flipped the posture. We've flattened out. It's not a guarantee that we're going to leave it, but it's a sign. It's an indication of how it interacts with these moving averages, how it coils up, and how they flip each other, going from 200 on top to 200 on bottom. That is flipping from bearish posture to bullish posture. 100 secondary on bottom. Again, that's bullish. 50 on the second to bottom versus 50 second to the top. Again, that's flipping from bearish to bullish. And then same thing, 20 on the bottom, 20 on the top. That's the most bullish posture. Now, again, a lot of times you have to, like, once you actually fully leave it, because it's flat like so, it's a very healthy thing to back test it. And that's what we saw over here. When we left the 100 moving average right here, when we left it, guess what? We came back and back tested it as support. That's what I think is going to happen again. I think it's going to back test it as support. And that's why I'm showing the fractal. I'm not really showing the fractal for predictions, although I guess you could technically say I am. But really, I'm showing the fractal to show you how they interact with one another when you're at a certain posture, and when you change that posture, what it looks like. And you see this on every time frame. You see this on the 1 minute time frame. You see this on the 5 minute time frame. You see this on the 15. You see this on the hourly, 2 hour, 5 hour, daily, weekly. All of it. The same sort of thing happens. I call it like a little dance that takes place. Hit the likes. That's 100%. It's a reaction, not a reason. So it's not a good indicator. Listen, I'm literally telling you it's not written in stone or the 10 Commandments. So I don't know what more you want from me. Cup and handle will be huge. Bitcoin going down to 68K. Possibly. Sure. That would be a test of the 200. That's a pretty healthy thing to do. We could even get into 67. I've been buying daily since February. Publicly, video evidence. My average buy, rebuy back into Bitcoin. My average buy last bear market was $22,000. My average rebuy back so far is about $64,000. And I'm going to keep buying every single day until April 1st. That is my plan. How long you been using fractals? For a minute. Fractals are not gospel. I'm really just showing it to show the posture. It's a tool that you can use. It's not gospel, though. There's no one indicator that is like, this is it. That doesn't exist. You have to use discretion. So when we look at the liquidity for Bitcoin, there's a decent pocket down here at 70K. We're probably going to grab that. And there's some liquidity that's building up here at 72K as well. It's probably going to grab on both. It's about equal right now on both pockets. This is a little bit brighter, but there's a bigger cluster up here. Same thing for Ethereum. In fact, we talked about it in the Telegram this morning. There was a huge liquidity pocket right here. And I was talking about the dangers of trading during the FOMC. And we saw this like huge bright red, well, bright orange pocket of liquidity. And we were talking like, hey, what's probably going to happen here is it's going to grab both of them, because that's how it does during the FOMC. And it did. We can see actually on Ethereum, the pocket is a little bit higher, a lot higher to the upside than it is to the downside. There is a pocket down here at 2136 though. The best indicator is having an uncle at BlackRock. I agree, actually. And if you don't have an uncle at BlackRock, I think Wyckoff is a good tool to use to study how does BlackRock move? How does the institutions move? Because this method was created 100 years ago. And this is the greatest trader that ever lived. He says all fluctuations in markets and the various stocks should be studied as if they were the result of one man's operations. Let us call him the composite man, who in theory sits behind the scenes, manipulates stocks to your disadvantage if you do not understand the game as he plays it, and to your great profit if you do. So this is why I like Wyckoff. It's like having an uncle who works at BlackRock, because this is how institutions move. Okay, it's really charting out how institutions like to move retail with fear, with greed. We go to 65K again. 65 is on the board for sure. What happened to April 1st? Not really much. My thesis was more around the last lunar eclipse and me thinking that we're going to be out of that negative energy by the 15th, but giving it some time. This is we just had the last lunar eclipse on the 3rd, which the war kicked off within that same window of time. I'm not a witch. And when you talk about lunar eclipses, people get really uncomfortable. But the fact is, a farmer 1,000 years ago planted its crops, and you're here today because someone figured that out. Luna went to zero on the lunar eclipse, and FTX went to zero on the blood lunar eclipse. I'm a huge believer in. So let me answer your question. Why April 1st? Why was that the date that I picked? I'm a huge believer in the 7-year cycle. I think that the 7-year cycle is way more powerful than the 4-year cycle. Like way more powerful. Like exponentially more powerful. The fact is, we have 16 years of data with the 4-year cycle. We have 10,000 years of data with the 7-year cycle. We have 100 years of stock market data with the 7-year cycle. All right. So I'm a huge believer in the 7-year cycle. Okay. And typically what you see is the lunar eclipses when it comes to the 7-year cycle are a big deal. Like FTX went to zero on the lunar eclipse during the 7-year cycle. Okay. So I thought that the timing of the last full lunar eclipse on the 3rd, the timing is impeccable, that there's not another lunar eclipse until 2028, 2029, which is the next 7th year, which to me is the big one. So here's a couple of the 7 years. 87 was Black Monday. 94, the bond market crashed. 7th year, 2001, dot-com bubble. 9/11. 7th year, 2008, the Great Financial Crisis. 7th year, 2015, the Chinese stock market crash. 7th year, 2022, recession. Luna, FTX, Voyager, Celsius, BlockFi all went to zero during the 7th year. So why April 1st? It was just viewing the March 3rd eclipse as a window of opportunity of something to happen, which it did. The war literally kicked off a couple of days before that. Literally, the war started 3 days before that. And just knowing that that's an opportunity, but I don't know how it's going to shake itself out. So I was going to strategically DCA through that window, which I think that we are going to have a noticeable shift. And it's going to be the roaring 20s, in my opinion, into 2028, September of 2028 / 2029, which is the next 7th year. And the next lunar eclipse is not until January of 2029, which is the next 7th year. All the timing of that is all insane to me. Actually, literally insane. So there you go. There's no like special date of April 1st. It's really just me strategically DCAing in a little bit at a time of my dry capital to be fully in when I think that the market is going to shift. So there you go. Very, very true. 7-year cycle, 100%. Listen, again, back to the composite man. Like when you understand, this is why you need to pay attention to stuff like this, in my opinion. This is why Richard D. Wyckoff made this method 100 years ago. when you understand who is in charge of money, okay? We'll say it just like that. It's as PG for Big Brother as possible. I'm not against any group of people. Understand. I love everybody. Understand. There's no secret as to who is in charge of money. That's a fact. Okay? That's not me hating on people or whatever. There's a group of people that's in charge of money. Period. That's not a debate. This group of people believes a certain thing. If they are in charge of money and they believe something happens every 7 years, they purge, that makes it real. Whether you believe it or not, whether I believe it or not, irrelevant. You or I are not in charge of money. So that is the gospel truth. Are we cooked? Juice. Do you see ETH dropping down to 2K possibly? 2K is possible. I think that 1741 was the bottom for ETH. There's not really a lot of liquidity. Let's see. Let's go on a bigger time frame and see if we can find like a pocket of liquidity at 2K. I don't think that there is. Man, there's a lot up there though. Maybe it starts getting built up. Yeah, actually there is. There's definitely a pocket of liquidity at 2K. Yep, it's on the board. But I think that this is it. 1741, I think Ethereum, the bottom is in. So is 2K on the board? I think so, for sure. Bitcoin going to go to 68K and then pump to 75K. Definitely on the board. ETH 2K is a bargain. Any thoughts on Jasmine? Jasmine's okay. I think it'll perform pretty well. Best indicator of all time is the EMA. Just see which side, 100 EMA and the 200, and go with that direction. Can't be simpler than that. I think that that's a good rule of thumb. I use them both. I use the SMA and EMA, but I think that that's a good rule of thumb. Alex is big into AI cryptos. What are your thoughts? My favorite AI cryptos are Flux and Dynex. I've been accumulating both of those. I think that his thesis is correct, though, that like the narrative was ahead of the technology, but now the technology is ahead of the narrative. That's me oversimplifying what his thoughts are, basically. In 2025, the AI narrative was ahead of the technology. Now I think that the technology is ahead of the narrative. That's basically his thesis, oversimplified, and I agree with what he's saying. Ski, did the S&P top? I don't think so. I think it's going to rebound into 2028. Are you still off 4-year cycle for crypto, or do you think we have shifted? The 4-year cycle is something, but it's not everything. And like fundamentally, the game is different now, right? So institutions are fundamentally in the game that they were not in. Does that mean that it's going to be like a super cycle and, all-time highs and because blah, blah, blah? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying with that is I think that we're going to go off of their timeline much stronger than what we have in the past. Even so, in 2022 and in 2015, they were both bear markets for Bitcoin. which was the 7th year. Institution or no, 50K incoming. It's a bear market. History repeat and don't care. Popular opinion, Alex. It's a popular opinion. That is the popular opinion. We'll see. I hope so. I would love to buy Bitcoin at 50K. I bought at 22,000 the last cycle. I bought at 16K last cycle. I short ETH 23.45 last night. Great. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for you. I'm pumped for you. I bought it Bitcoin at 16K last cycle. That's what I know for sure happened. That happened IRL for real. 99% of altcoins will never see an all-time high again. 16K is stuff. I don't know what you're saying. So Mary. I agree. There's 38 million different coins. Like, what's 99%? What's 1% of 38 million? I agree. There's a lot, like 99% of those are dead for sure. And then, yeah, I'm with you. But not the way that maybe you're presenting it, but just in that, like, there's 38 million different coins now. Bitcoin and ETH, the only ones I trust. I'm accumulating Bitcoin and ETH every day. And XRP. I have been buying publicly since the beginning of February. Are we finishing the old cycle? What regard? What way do you mean? Could you give me clarification there? There's a lot of liquidity at 90.5K. So I think that whatever conclusion is getting you there, I think that I agree. There's a ton of liquidity at 90.5K. Are you still accumulating VeChain? I'm still accumulating VeChain. Will VeChain hit all-time high? I think so. Beard is looking thick. Appreciate it. 29K October. I don't think that that's going to happen. WorldCoin. When Solnick to $2? Sooner or later. Alt season never hit, or did it? Confused. We had peak euphoria probably in 2024, December. But what do I think is happening is we've had on a bigger time frame, a back test. We're seeing on a macro time frame, we're seeing rotation happening. Silver went crazy. Gold went crazy. That happened in 2020, but it wasn't as violent. And the Russell is still continuing to hold. We need to see distribution out of the Russell. So what I think is going to happen is 2026 is not going to be like people think it's going to be, and 2027 is not going to be like people think it's going to be. I think personally that we're going to be rocking and rolling into 2028/2029, and that's going to be the big one, in my opinion. The big one, in my opinion. The big one for stocks, for silver, for Bitcoin, for everything. For AI. Probably because of AI. Probably be because of AI. I don't know what the reason's going to be. 2028 or 2029. So September of 2028 into September of 2029 is the actual timeline of the 7th year. Because it's not based on our Gregorian calendar. It's off of the Hebrew calendar. What's your opinion on alt season totally? I think that altcoins will outperform Bitcoin on this next rally. You think Flux can still get to $8? I think so. I can't wait for Bitcoin to hit 100K so you don't have to listen to these idiots calling for 38K. They'll probably still be calling it, honestly. Maybe not. They'll probably be buying at 100K. People say, I keep seeing people say like they're waiting for October to buy. They're not touching anything until October. They're waiting for the scheduled October bottom. And I believe you. Like when someone tells me that they are not buying crypto until October, I believe you. And I think you're right. I think that you are 100% correct. You will not be buying until October of 2026. However, I don't think that means what you think it means. When people are waiting for the scheduled bottom in 2026 and they tell you they're not buying a penny until 2026, October, I believe them. I 100% believe them. But it does not mean what they think it's going to mean. Ski got the guns out. You know, we've been pumping iron, trying to get the gains right. Been eating lots of steak. They've probably been buying the whole time. What I'm saying is when people say they're not going to be buying until October, I believe them in that October is not going to be the bottom. They're going to be FOMOing in October. Gold look bearish. I agree. I think silver is topped. I said publicly I sold all of my silver at $107. I still think that the silver has topped. It's making another low again. $76. Now, we're probably going to bounce off the 100. But man, when it clears the 100, mamma mia. I'm telling you, this looks like death. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. I think that silver has topped. Silver does not give you, like all I heard up here at $120 was, but there's real reasons to have silver now. You're selling here, you idiot. That's all I heard. That's all I heard. I publicly sold my silver at $107. Publicly. I accumulated for 8 years. I publicly sold silver at $107, and I said I'm not touching it until we get back into the 50s. I am not touching silver until we get back into the 50s. Period. This looks like death. And if you look at the history of silver, people have this fantasy that silver gives you this nice distributional top. And that's not true. We went straight to the 2618 and got rejected immediately. We were at the 2618 for 1 week and 1 week alone. And that was it. Came down, retraced to the 0.5. That is super bearish. That's exactly what Bitcoin did before it rolled over. I'm not playing no games with silver. I will love to buy back at 50. I bought at $20 on average price. Look, silver does not give you this nice distribution. It gives you a nice accumulation, a decade of accumulation And then it violently breaks out, and then that's it. That's it. How about over here? Accumulation for decades. Violent breakout. This looks like a meme coin. And I love buying silver. It's my favorite asset to buy. This looks like a meme coin. Silver does not give you this nice institutional distribution. I don't know how many times I said I thought silver is topped. Like, what shitcoin is this? Silver is my favorite asset to buy. It really is. This looks like a shitcoin. That's what silver does. That's how silver behaves. People kept telling me at $120 that no, there's all this institutional reasons that they need all this silver for whatever, for electricity and for solving world hunger or whatever the case is. I don't care. I know when it's parabolic. 2618 Fibonacci weekly chart. The most oversold the most overbought it's been since 1979. Monthly chart. The most overbought it's been since 1979. MACD weekly cross to the downside. That's death, ladies and gentlemen. Do not mess with silver. Unless you want to hold for the next 20 years. Oh, man. People say I'm a permabull. Silver was one of my biggest holdings up until a couple of months ago. Oil's going to do the same, 100%. Oil is going to do the same thing. They're going to, this is what's going to happen fundamentally. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you the playbook. Look at how overbought this is. That is crazy hot. Here's what's going to happen with oil. I'm going to give you the playbook. This fake war is going to come to an end in the wee hours of the night as they are literally burning the midnight oil. And then the price is going to come back down. Big D says, I own a pawn shop, been buying gold and silver for 30 years. I've never seen it move like this. Crazy. 100%. So you already know. You already know what time it was. When I went to my coin shop and I was selling my silver, I was asking him, like, hey, are people buying more? Mind you, it's $107 when I sold. Are people buying more or are they selling more? And he said people are lining up. They were lining up out the street to buy silver. Are you buying injective? No, I'm not. The list of coins that I'm buying right now, and I have been since February, are Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. That's 70%. My mid caps that I was buying are VeChain, Link, Flux. And my 100x plays are Solnic, Dis, Dynex. That's what I've been buying since February. That's what I've been buying since February. Says you're correct. They won't buy 59K. They will buy 100K, 100%. You get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. You get your Bitcoin at the price you deserve. All right, guys. Reminder. We are running a 4th of July sale. Or not 4th of July. St. Patrick's Day sale for the Telegram group. The month of February, We had 19 winning days, 3 losing days, up $46,000 net profit. For the month of March so far, we have, I don't know how many winning days we have. I think we have 9, but we're up 14 grand for the month of March. This is not an updated picture. I'll get an updated picture for you for the month of March. But we're up. We have 9 days and 2 losing days for the month of March. Up 14 grand so far. We're running a St. Patrick's Day sale. If you guys want lifetime access to that, you can hit me in the DMs. I do live trading in the group Monday through Friday. It's not supposed to be entertaining. When did you start in crypto? Okay, so my story to crypto. I have been in crypto since 2014. That was my first time I ever bought Bitcoin. But it was for dumb reasons, and I was an idiot kid who didn't know anything about anything, let alone Bitcoin. I didn't know anything about life, let alone Bitcoin. Okay. I didn't know anything about anything. I was just an idiot kid. And it was this stupid, like, rocket ship ride game where you could bet $100 or whatever, and it would go 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. And if you cashed out, you would get 5x your money. But at some point, the rocket ship would blow up. And that was the first time I ever got Bitcoin. And every day, this website would give you free Bitcoin to come back and play. So that was the first time I ever bought Bitcoin. Somewhere there on the Ether, I have sent whole Bitcoins off to the Ether because I was an idiot and I didn't know. Like every single mistake you could possibly make, I made them all. I made every stinking mistake that you could possibly make. I've done it all. I've blown up accounts. I've sent whole Bitcoins off to the Ether. I've bought the top. I've sold the bottom. Everything you could do wrong, I've done it wrong. But I continue to be disciplined and work on my craft, work on my thesis, not get shiny object syndrome when things get scary, when things get hard, to buckle down and really lock in and learn and work on my craft and grow and constantly refine my process. And that to me is the difference. It's not one shiny indicator or anything like that. I would say I got serious about Bitcoin and crypto probably like 2016. That's when I started really like, okay, this is the real thing. I started reading about it. I read the white paper. I read the Bitcoin Standard in like 2017, maybe. I bought the top in 2017 on like everything. I'm down to Dash on this day to this day. I'm down on EOS to this day. I FOMO'd in at 2017. I bought the absolute top in 2017. So like I said, every mistake that you can possibly make, I made it. I did it. I did it all. In 2018, again, where my friends that were in crypto, they were FOMOing in at the top, just like I was FOMOing in at the top. They got shiny object syndrome and started doing like drop shipping or whatever else. I started really refining my process, really studying Wyckoff, really working on my technicals, really working on my fundamentals. And I accumulated that whole bear market. 2021, I made good money. I made good profit. I still made some mistakes. I sold about the average price of $50K after accumulating that Bitcoin or that bear market. I still bought the top on some things, but I mostly sold all of my crypto at the end of 2021 where Bitcoin was around 50K. So I didn't sell the top, but I sold most of the top. I sold Ethereum around $4,500 average price. And then in 2022, the same thing. I continued to refine my process. I continued to learn and grow. And I bought that whole bear market. I bought the average price of $22,000 for Bitcoin. I brought the average price on XRP for 33 cents. Publicly sold all of my XRP at $3.33. And I bought a farm last January in 2025. I bought a farm with my XRP. Publicly, after accumulating at $3.33 average price, I sold January 25th, 2025. Well, this is when I uploaded the video, so technically I sold before then. But January 25th, 2025, $3.33 is when I sold, and I bought my farm. So that's my whole story with crypto. It wasn't a straight line for me. It's still not a straight line for me. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still refining my process. I'm still trying to be as accountable as I can. I still get things wrong. I made a mistake in last October. I thought, or December, I bet my beard that we wouldn't go below 95K. So I still get things wrong. But I am 10 for 11 on my beard bets. I've bet my beard 11 different times. One time I've had to shave it in my career, and that was last December. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with the totality of my entire track record, good, bad, and ugly. And listen, he says, you're doing good, I remember, in December. Yeah, and I shaved it right then and there. When I was wrong, I was accountable that day. That day. I didn't wait for whatever. The hilarious part is people will like comment on my videos. They're like, same guy who was buying, who said that the bottom was in 95K. It's like, brother, if James Harden goes 10 for 11 at the free throw line and misses a free throw, my brother in Christ, is he human? Or is he going to miss everyone from here on out? I know it's what have you done for me lately? Now you're shaving your head. I am 10 for 11 on beard bets. I do not suspect I am missing the next one. Even a Rolex needs to be reset every now and again. You know what I'm saying? You have to reset a Rolex. It happens. It's part of the game. But the bet is Bitcoin will not get a daily body close below $50,000, or I will shave my head, shave my beard, and give away $500. That is the bet right now. Says it happens. We all make mistakes. You owned your mistakes, and I'm a forever follower. I appreciate it. Because I think the bottom is in. When you say the big one, September 2028, 2029, you mean when we will have euphoria rally or a bad bear market? A bad bear market. As in like the total economy. I think that we will rock and roll into that. Like it's going to be the roaring 20s, in my opinion, into September of 2028. And then I think that the AI bubble busts. And I think that the AI technology like really takes people's jobs and all that stuff. But I think that we rock and roll into September of 2028. Which for the 4-year nerds, that still lines up with your 4-year cycle, I guess. Although Bitcoin literally didn't even do it last time. It made a all-time high before the halving. I think we get a small correction, then go higher. That's certainly possible. When will we buy a Bugatti? I'm thinking about a blue one. It's a 1970 Chevelle for me. Bugatti, a little bit Lamborghini. If that's your cup of tea, I'm here for it. But for me, I'm a 70 Chevelle, 69 Camaro kind of guy. I don't care about Bugattis. I don't care about Lamborghinis. I just want land. I have a 67 Malibu. There you go. Now we're talking. Nissan GRT, anyone? I heard you mention 100x plays. What are they? Dis and Solnick. Been buying every single day. I'm going to keep buying. I like the old classics. That's my thing. I like the 70s muscles. 86. I like the 80s and 70s. But mostly like the K10, 86 K10. I had one of those. I had one of those once. But other than that, it's probably like the AVAX and Link. I think Link minimum goes to $38. I think AVAX, I don't know what my prediction for AVAX is. $70 minimum. Which school do you usually use? In what regard? I made my last $65K payment on this place October 25th. I own this place. Let's go, brother. H-bar target, 88 cents. Is Cardano cooked? I think Cardano's accumulating. I think Cardano's fine. $333, I think, is the minimum for Flux. Ski, I want to day trade, but without leverage, it's against my religion to do so. Can we make money in the Telegram by normal buy and selling? Probably, maybe. It wouldn't be as much for sure. Probably better off just doing spot, accumulating. Elevate your third eye says, you the boss, Ski. Been here since the beginning of Solnic. Did a call with you, and you never done me wrong, fam. I appreciate that. If you guys want to book a call with me, you can. You can book me on my Calendly. That also comes with lifetime access to the Telegram. I mean, analyze the market. Wyckoff or Classic? Definitely Wyckoff. I am a disciple of Wyckoff. Richard Wyckoff to me is the GOAT of trading. I use other things. Like my whole method is basically I combine a number of things. Wyckoff, Fibonacci's, a little bit of Elliott Wave, support, resistance, all that stuff. I use some different indicators, but Wyckoff is the main thing. And then why I like Wyckoff so much is because I'm a counter trader, and I am spending most of my time trying to figure out what is retail thinking. Why are they thinking it? And then I have a bias against that. Because I've never seen retail be correct ever. Ever. I've never seen them be correct. Thoughts on Sui? I think Sui's accumulating. What do you think of Elliott Wave theory? I think Elliott Wave is solid. I don't like it because there's too much. I don't use it primary. I don't want to say I don't like it. I don't use it as my primary method because there's too many variables. There's too many like variants of like what is A wave, what is three leg, what is C wave, and then people, you can just kind of draw a wave anywheres. So I think it's solid. I think it definitely tells the same story a lot of times, but I don't find it as reliable as Wyckoff, but I still find it very valuable. But my thing is, and what I always teach, whether you use Elliott Wave, whether you use Wyckoff, whether you use whatever you use, it doesn't matter. Just be the master of that. You know what I'm saying? So like the enemy of your progress is going to be shiny object syndrome. So whether you want to be a master of Wyckoff, a master of Elliott Wave, whatever the case is, it doesn't really matter. Wherever your edge is, keep practicing your kick again and again and again. 10,000 different times. Retail's never correct because they bring emotions into the game. 100%. But all right, guys, that is going to be it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I will never message you first. Those are scammers. For the love of God, do not get scammed. I'm not going to ask you for money. That being said, if you want to join the Telegram, we are running a sale right now. If you want to get lifetime access to the Telegram, you can do that. you can hit me in the DMs for that. But I'm not going to message you first. If you message me, I will message you back. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm going to try to be live a little bit more early tomorrow. I'm feeling a little under the weather from my vacation. There were some people that were sick there, so I'm kind of feeling that a little bit. So I'm feeling a little sluggish, I guess. So I'm trying to kick that. But I should be live with Alex on Friday morning, and then I'll be live in the group trading tomorrow as well. I appreciate all the gifts. Appreciate all the support, all the love. As always, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do what you want. But I appreciate